Hey, what is up? It is Ross from Spiritual Phoenix Studios, and today we are going to talk about the Hierophant, or Hierophant, or however you want to say it. I probably did not pronounce it correctly. I don't really care. Let's get into the card. The nickname I have for this card is the Traditionalist card. I don't know why that was so challenging for me to say, but it was. And we'll look at the keywords to help unpack why. So key meanings are tradition, spiritual wisdom, education, unity. But in lots of ways, this is very, very confined. And it's like, this is the patriarchy leading people through similar ways, effectively. There's no new ideas or anything that's included in this, even though it does say unity. This card is more about like spiritual control, is how I would view it. It's kind of the opposite of the High Priestess, is how I take it. The reverse meaning of this card, though, is nonconformity, unorthodox, bohemian, and existentialist. And this is where the power of this card comes in my opinion. The Hierophant for me is one to where I always call the reversal like the path with heart. This is the path with heart when you get the reversal, and that's what you want. The traditionalist is just doing stuff to do stuff. So now that that's kind of cleared away, let's move on to the next point. The astrological sign associated with this card is Taurus, loving and compassionate, magnetic and dependable. Here's some of the negative traits: possessive and stubborn, short-tempered, and unreceptive. And that is where the unreceptive aspect of thing is where the traditionalist comes in, right? Because they're locked into their ideas and beliefs. They're bullheaded, to use the Taurus symbolism. And that is obviously the element of earth. That is practical, pragmatic, hands-on, reliable, conservative. And this is the easiest way to kind of identify the card. This is like a more conservative approach to spirituality and esotericism, whereas the High Priestess is more liberal and intuitive, if that makes sense. Numerology, 5 represents the ability to understand the deepest of esoteric and spiritual secrets. I honestly would change what I have written here. I made these slides over 2 years ago. The way that I would put it now is this is about, typically 5s are about adversity, and how it's representing here, it is like the tradition of adversity, or trying to push people who have challenges into a box. Home, expanding property, inventing, how this relates to a reading about your home. This is like expanding property, or it's inviting like minds over to share your interests, like a mastermind or something like that. Relationships, committed partnership, marriage, celebrating the sacred in your relationship. I would say on a negative aspect, this could be like domineering and controlling in a relationship, or like codependent, those types of things. That's one of the footnotes that I would add there. Career and money, progress in your organization. That's one of the good things about this card. Like, I'm making it seem very negative because I have a negative association with it, which is fine. But the stable elements of earth signs and the Taurus energy will help you progress in your organization. There is inspired leadership because you're grounded in taking action in a reasonable way, and there's growth that occurs as a result of that. So hopefully that makes sense. For self-reflections on this card, how has your structure become your prison? And by that, how has like your routine kind of imprisoned you into one way of being? The other self-reflection is, how can you connect deeper to your spirituality? If you want to unpack that. And this is taking physical action to connect to your spirituality. So like praying, meditation, things like that is what I would suggest, but fill in your own blanks there. And then personalize. When has the traditional approach been helpful for you? Because there are times, and there are obviously things that traditions are there in some instances for a reason, and it can save you from having to learn mistakes that other people have already made. So when has the traditional approach been helpful to you? And then when has a tradition been outdated and limiting for you? And it's okay to say that too, right? Because if we're not evolving as people if we maintain the same traditions that we've always did and not doing anything differently. We wouldn't grow. Okay, now that that's out of the way, the major to minor, this card is associated with all of the fives. I would also say that it's associated with temperance. It is also associated with the devil card. And there is a connection to the high priestess because the high priestess is the feminine pathway to the divine, which is more intuitive. And then the Hierophant is the masculine presentation of the divine, and they're a lot more practical and pragmatic about how they approach things. And that is the Hierophant. He is, again, a traditionalist. I like the reversal of it better because that is about a path with heart, as Castaneda would say. And yeah, thank you very much for checking this out. Peace.